So the first fly I'm going to tie is a Mike's Comet. A Comet is a fly that's been around for, oh gosh, decades certainly, and I call it a Mike's Comet. I modified it and added a bunch of stuff to it, and enough stuff I think that I can throw my first name in there. First thing I'm doing is getting the hook ready, and I should say that this is a mustad hook. A lot of the flies that I tie for humpies, I tie on stainless steel hooks so that when I use them in the salt, they don't come apart. So the first thing in tying a Mike's Comet is you want to tie the tail. I usually tie a tail of this Mirage Flashaboo, and it's kind of a hot pink. And I typically use about 6 strands of Flashaboo. Try to tie them in right along the shank of the hook. So put the strands right on the hook there, and just tie them down, wrap them down. I want the tail to be about as long as the shank of the hook here, so about that long, and I'll just cut it off right there. So there's the tail. The next thing I want to do is tie the body of the fly, and I usually use a dubbing or a body material. And if you haven't used dubbing before, it's a little bit complicated, but what you're trying to do is to twist, use your fingers to twist this material onto your thread, and then when you wrap it on the thread, it goes onto the hook and it creates the body of your fly. And you sort of have to do it little by little. So we've got extra material, we'll just take it right off. And you don't want to be right on the eye of the hook. You want to leave some room because we're going to tie a feather right behind the eye of the hook. So I've wrapped my thread about 3 times on this dubbing just to kind of lock it in and make it stay in place. And we've got that. So here are my saddle hackles, and this is basically just a chicken feather, a white chicken feather that they've dyed pink. I want to sort of get to an area where the quill there, the part of the feather in the center, is not too thick. So I'm going to cut it off just about right there. Make a little spot. I'm going to cut just a little bit of the fibers, about 3 or 4, 5 wraps of thread, and I've tied in this feather right adjacent to the body there as soon as the body ends. And I'm going to take this feather and I'm just going to wrap it a couple of times right around the hook. You can see that. So there we've got our feather on there, and really all we need to do now is to make just the head of the fly. So I'm pulling this feather back with my thumb and my forefinger and pulling it away from the eye of the hook, and I'm just wrapping the thread to make a head of the fly. I'm going to use my whipped finisher. We can also use some head cement. This is Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails clear fingernail polish. And there we go. There's the Mike's Comet. You can see that this is actually a smaller version. And we've got the larger version here.